All right, we're at the Farm Progress Show in Decatur, Illinois, joined by Tony McClelland, Planter Marketing Manager with Case IH, and this is the new early riser planter behind you, Tony?
Yeah, thanks, Kelvin. This is, a new 2140 planter. We've been phasing in the new 2000 series, so this 2140 is our first 2000 series that has basically a pivot transport frame design, and we've got a 30-foot, a 40-foot, and a 44-foot machine. This particular machine, this is the first time that the public has seen one of these at the farm show, and it's a 1632. So there's 16 rows on 30-inch centers, and the split rows are, there's a total of 32 rows on 15-inch centers for planting those narrow crops.
So conducive to narrower row beans then.
Exactly, conducive to narrow row beans or 15-inch beans. This pivot transport planter is also available in a 24-row 20-inch and a 24-row 22-inch. And there's been a whole lot of changes to this machine from its predecessor, the 1245, such as we can now sell bulk fill seed with 80 bushels of seed capacity, along with 400 gallons of liquid fertilizer from the factory. And we can plumb that all the way down to Furrow for in-furrow delivery of the fertilizer. A lot of frame changes took place with this machine as well. Partly to accommodate the new row unit, which is built, for durability, simplicity, and accuracy. But part of the durability is for tough conditions, which includes high speed. So not only the row unit, but we wanted the frame to be able to handle that and manage that and keep the row units in the ground and be durable over time as well. One of the major changes to the 2140 is the way that the planter carries on a headland turn. Whereas when we lift up on a headland now, there's wing wheels on the front of the toolbar that are on a hydraulic cylinder. So the wings are basically carrying their own weight as you make a turn on the end. We also moved the flex points 30 inches inboard on each side of the planter. So each wing got longer, more tip flex for the wings for handling different terrain. And if we tie that to the new row units that have 16 inches of vertical travel, we've got a tremendous ability to cover different types of terrain. If there's like terracey ground or a lot of undulating terrain conditions, we really do a good job of accurate seed placement throughout the full, range of motion. With the 2000 series planters, we've got these new row units. You can see there's a lot of cast. They're built heavy. The parallel links are heavy duty. We have a lot of high technology options that are available for the planter, such as Delta Force that basically allows every single row unit to row by row either add or remove weight to carry the same weight on the depth on the gauge wheels, which allows for very precise depth placement of the seed, which lends itself to very uniform emergence of the seed. And at the end of the day, that's the name of the game, is getting all the plants up at the same time. There's also a lot of other features that are built for like productivity and convenience, being able to quickly change crop types and change settings of the planter for different conditions, whether it's a tilled field to a no-till field, from a 30-inch corn to a 15-inch soybean or canola or things of that nature. So like, for example, if I change this from this planter from say planting corn to soybeans, I'd walk along the back and unlock all these split row locks, and then I'd climb up in the cab and hydraulically set the split rows down to go to that 15-inch setting. Very quick, very easy. Your depth control is set from the back. It's very fast and visual. There's an indexing system so you can see that they're all set the same. We've got the ability to adjust residue managers as far as up or down pressure from the cab, so you can really dial it in very quickly without having to stop, get out, and make a mechanical setting on every single row. The other thing is we've got the option to get pneumatic closing discs down pressure. So spring is a standard option, which you can easily adjust with 3 different settings, easy to get to, or you can upgrade to the air cylinder, which allows you to apply more down pressure for closing, as well as a uniform down pressure for closing, and you can set it from the cab. So there's a lot of little things like that that just make this a very quick planter to deal with, to make changes, and it really is meant to optimize your time in the field actually planting, which is where you want to be, making use of your weather windows. A lot of other small things too, such as speed compensated vacuum. As you go faster, it automatically will increase the vacuum setting to hold seed to the seed plates. There's an auxiliary automated alternator. We do have a completely isolated electrical 12-volt system that runs this planter, and the alternator will spin as fast as it needs to run all the electric components on the planter. And when it doesn't need that electrical demand, it slows it down to save fuel, save horsepower. The planter is very sophisticated, but with that, it's so sophisticated that it becomes very easy to identify problems and troubleshoot as well. And if you look at the design of the toolbar, there's a lot of use of hard and soft lines. Everything is up where you can get to it. The air lines are color-coded. Everything has its place. Everything is routed. So when it does come time, if there's an issue to diagnose, troubleshoot, replace, it's a very simple to navigate planter.
So this is the first public appearance. Is it on the market for 2018 then, or when can farmers see it?
Yeah, so this is the first public debut here at this farm show, and we'll run the fall farm show circuit. And we do have full production available for spring of 18. So the model year 18 planters will be fully available.
All right. Well, focusing specifically on the openers and the row closing capability, why don't we take a look at the demo you have over here?
Yeah, so this demonstration kind of shows us some of the traits of the early riser planter, some of the ground engaging, some of the unique features. I like to think of them as traits because the early riser really has a stack of traits or several different things that lend itself to fast germination of the seed and a very uniform emergence of every seed across the field and across the whole planter. So it really starts with the disc openers. We've got an offset disc opener, and you can kind of see up here where you have one disc that does the cutting. It slices residue like a knife. It penetrates hard ground very easily. It's great for no-till situations. It stays in hard ground easily. Another thing that we noticed right up front is that with the pulled gauge wheels of the early riser, we're pulling the gauge wheels, so there's very little rolling resistance and there's very little bulldozing. On a conventional planter, when you push gauge wheels, you can see that you get more of a bulldozing effect of the soil. When we make a furrow, we're moving soil. So when we move the soil in an early riser, we have some place to store it with these deep storage grooves on the gauge wheels. And you can kind of see that we're carrying the weight of the row unit away from the trench. And that promotes a nice loose sidewall or an uncompacted sidewall. So it really, by design, we don't have a lot of issues with the early riser for hatchet roots or sidewall compaction type of issues. A couple other things that we do is when we do make a trench with these looser sidewalls, in lighter, sandier soils, we don't want the trench to cave in before we get a chance to drop the seed. And that's where this shoe comes into play. It's kind of like a little trench box that helps hold the trench long enough to drop the seed. And when we do drop the seed, this little device right here is a furrow forming point. So anytime you have a set of double disc openers, you'll make this little like a W in the bottom of your trench. This forming point basically knocks the bottom of the trench flat or clean so that when you drop the seed, every single seed goes to the same depth for very accurate depth control. The next step would be the closing. We use a two-stage closing. It starts off with these inverted closing discs that very gently squeeze the trench closed from the bottom up so that moist soil goes right back to where it was, the depth that you're planting to. And the secondary step would be the press wheel, which basically just comes and firms the soil down and squishes out any air pockets and gives good seed to soil contact, as well as this nice flat finish. And what you'll see is this pattern is very intentional from the press wheel. You know, if there are soil types that are susceptible to some surface crusting, this allows for a place for that soil to crack open for the seedling to emerge. So those are really some of the agronomic traits that make it an early riser and just lend itself to that fast, uniform emergence. And really that's just a key to maximizing yield, is getting all those seeds up quickly and at the same time.